So guys, quick update on the USB, right? The USB connector. So I went to Whitby for the weekend. If you remember, I had the USB mounted here temporarily, and it served its purpose for the weekend. It did its job, it gave me power, it worked. The problem I had was I had the sleeping bag rolled up here. So every time I wanted to get to the USB during the journey, I couldn't quite get to it. It was a little bit fiddly. I had to leave the the cable plugged in. I couldn't disconnect it, so it wasn't ideal, but it served its purpose. Okay, so what I've done today is I've left the battery terminals connected on the USB cable. I've snipped it here, right, and the intention is to feed the cable under here, right, under here, and follow the line of the brake pipes, like down here, underneath the scoot, and then up inside the horn cast where all the other cables go. Okay, that was the plan. So I was trying to utilize the see that little hole up there? You've got one either side where the indicator cable feeds through, and I was trying to utilize that. So I was trying to feed the cable down that hole so it would run through the horn cast and come out underneath, but it was just a little too congested in there with other cables. Okay, so I undid that nut there. I undid the two screws here, right, and my plan and the two screws up here was to pull the horn cast away and just make sure that everything was nice and tidy in there. But I started to think it was a bit more trouble than it was worth, because I would have had to take my front rack off and all the other bits and pieces, right? So instead, what I've done, I put all that back together instead, and I've made a tiny, tiny hole down here. Can you see that? I did that with a bradawl and a screwdriver, so I didn't even use an electric drill, right? Just pushed my way through, made a tiny hole. It is a tiny hole. It's not altered the structure of the scooter at all. So there's no structural, change. And I've mounted the USB here, just on that little screw housing there. You see that? I've used a self-adhesive pad. Okay, the USB is fitted there, and then this is the connector so that you don't drain your battery. You just disconnect it whenever you're not using it. Okay, so that's going to live in there. It'll probably feed down the back there. Okay, and then the cable is going to feed through here. So let's have a go. Right, I'm going to get the end of the cable. I'm doing this one-handed while I hold the camera. You see how tiny that is, right? So there's going to be no water ingress, no problem there. I'm just going to push it in. It's very, very snug. Can you see that? It's so snug, it's squeaky, right? And let's just push that in and we'll see where it comes out underneath. Now, when I made that hole, I was very careful. On the other side of here, you've got the brake pipes, okay? So I made the hole about an inch and a half away from the edge here, because the edge, you've got the brake pipes. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't use a drill either. I didn't want to drill through and drill into something and damage anything. So I just made a very small hole. I'm pushing that through now. I'll keep pushing that through. And hopefully we'll be able to pull it down from the other side. Let's go under and have a look where it is. There it is, look. Okay. So you see where it's coming out? It's coming out just up there, you see that? So it's just to the side of the brake pipes. Very snug. I'm just going to pull it through a little bit. It's perfect. Okay, and that is going to cable tie to the brake pipes there. You see that? It's going to go all the way along with the brake pipes, and then it's going to come up at the back with the battery. Okay, job's a good one. Should be. Okay, so there we have it, right? USB, waterproof cover there. It pops on there. Okay, so we've got the terminals here, which I've left a little play in just so we can disconnect them when not in use, doing it with one hand. Okay, so it doesn't drain the battery. That feeds through there nice and snug, so no problem there. It's not even moving. Comes out at the bottom here, and I'll show you what I've done underneath. So you can see there, just try and get some light on that. Okay, so it comes out there, and I've tucked it actually behind the bracket there for the brake lines. Okay, so even if the cable tie's failed, it's not going to fall down. It's tucked in behind that bracket. So I've fed it through there, and then it comes along here. We've got cable ties here. I've put it above the chassis there. Okay, cable tie, and then it goes under there, right? So it follows that line under there. It's hidden, and it comes out over there, right? You can see it there. So it's all concealed. Comes out here. So yeah, I've cable tied it down here to this hose here. Not too tight because that hose doesn't need compressing. And then followed it up the hose there, another cable tie there. I've reconnected the cables here that I chopped with a couple of butt connectors, like electrical connectors, where you clamp them down with a pair of pliers. And then I just taped over the top, and it's all nice and secure. And then I've put the fuse there behind the rubber band that keeps the battery on, right? So everything's held in place nice and tight. Can you see that there? Not the best angle, right? But you get the idea. It's all nice and secure and well fitted, and everything works. There's the USB cable in there. So we can just take that out anytime we like. We can disconnect down there, and all is good. Now, one word of warning. When I snipped the cables here, it was still connected to the battery. So the fact that I chopped the cables together caused a short circuit. So be warned about that. I had to put a new fuse into the USB fuse, not the bike fuse, the USB fuse, because I short circuited it and blew the fuse. So just be aware of that. Disconnect it from the battery first if you're going to mess around chopping the cables. But yeah, I'm pleased with it, pleased with the end result, and all good. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.